In today's video, we are looking at something called the Great Float. We'll be explaining what the Great Float is. For those of you that don't know, the Great Float is on the Wirral and it's accessed off junction 1 of the M53. The Great Float is split into two different halves, but that's not the only thing that's been divided in this area. You may notice some colourful buildings at the top of your screen, and they are dividing something too. Opinions. It appears not everybody is happy with the way that they look. But we're going to be talking about another reason and why they might be causing some other controversy. We'll also be explaining why there was a Scottish ferry in the area. If this drone footage had been shot in 2006, we might have been looking at something German. And that was something else that divided opinion when it actually got divided up itself. There's a lot to get through on this particular edition, so let's discuss it on the Trucker's Eye. This is the Stena Line ferry terminal at 12 quays in Birkenhead. As well as offering a passenger service to Belfast, it offers freight routes to both Belfast and Dublin. The ferry terminal was opened in 2002 at a cost of £25 million. Not so long ago there was great news for the ferry terminal and its future. Stena Line and Peel Ports announced that they'd signed a deal to keep the port rolling for the next 75 years. The port at 12 quays allowed ferries to berth on the River Mersey, which holds a far greater advantage over berthing in Liverpool. As you can see here on Google Maps, ships entering the docks at Liverpool will have to use a lock. This adds a significant amount of time to any ship entering or leaving the dock system at Liverpool. Whilst the Stena Line ships do berth on the Mersey when they're visiting the 12 quays terminal, there is still a lock system on the Birkenhead side. Here you can see the Calmac ferry MV Hebrides as she waits in the lock system ready to enter the River Mersey. After leaving the Birkenhead dock system, the ferry had once again been in Birkenhead to receive her annual overhaul. As the camera pans up, you'll see Liverpool across the other side of the River Mersey. You'll also notice another ship on the other side of the Mersey that has berthed at Liverpool. This is the Liverpool Cruise Terminal, and it was opened in 2007 at a cost of £19 million. Taking a look again at Google Maps, you'll notice that the dock system in Liverpool is all adjacent to the River Mersey. However, if you look at the Birkenhead side, you'll notice that the docks run inland. The body of water itself is called the Great Float. The Great Float essentially being two large docks, which are known as East Float and West Float. Just on the bottom right of this photograph, you should be able to make out the 12 quays ferry terminal. Access to the ferry terminal is usually via the dock road, seen here. Vehicles using the dock road to access the port have been finding it ever more problematic since 500 new affordable homes were built on the dock road itself. But just what is the problem? This is the award-winning Miller's Quay development at Wirral Waters. It comprises of 500 highly sustainable 1 and 2 bedroom waterfront apartments and includes 100 affordable new homes. The exterior of the new buildings has attracted both positive and negative reviews from people. Some people have even likened them to Lego buildings, whilst others thought they might have been modelled on a famous kids TV show. But there is one thing that everybody seems to be in agreement with, and that particular thing is probably the reason why this car park is mainly empty. So why are the car parks virtually empty on this development, and where are all the cars? Let's take a drive down the dock road. So here they all are on the road. No illegal parking from this lot, as there's no double yellow lines. But people have taken to social media to express their disappointment at just how the cars are left abandoned almost everywhere. Most cars, however, are legally parked. But I want to ask you, is this road just an accident waiting to happen? Especially with trucks going in and out of the docks all day. Cars are even parking in the left filter lane ahead, obstructing vehicles from turning left. This was actually filmed early in the morning, but later in the day when traffic hits the road, this situation is a lot worse. Finally, we're able to make our way into the filter lane at the traffic lights to turn left. So just what is going on? Now, I don't mean to start sounding like this guy.
I've definitely been in worse places.
You can actually rent one of these affordable properties for around £750. But apparently within that, all your bills are paid. Well, unless you've got a car, that is. If you do have a car, you are allocated one parking space. Just the one. And depending on what bit you read, for that one space, you are either forced to pay £50 or £75 to park your car in the car park. So it is easy to acknowledge why people might be parking on the road. However, with the dock road being massively important for the access to the ferry port, something surely needs to give. You can see clearly here, going back through the years on Google Maps, just how clear the road actually was. You may also be able to see that pink building on the far side of the east float. You'll notice that from this drone shot, as we pan round to the right, that this isn't really the view that you would be looking for if you were renting one of those brand new apartments. This pink building is the Finza UK warehouse. Finza import timber from around the world, and it's in this warehouse where they store and distribute it. For now. If we were to once again sight up the Miller's Quay development and pan the camera to the left towards the west float, you'd see a lot of building work going on. Back down on the ground and on the road again, you'll notice that on the left hand side is the building works that we've just seen, and quite clearly on the left you'll see that this is going to be the brand new Finza UK distribution depot. Once completed, it will see the demolition of the old warehouse. It's unclear whether further ambitious development plans for the east float will actually go ahead. As you head out of the Stena Line ferry terminal, this is the view that you're presented with at the roundabout. This is the central hydraulic tower. It was built in 1863 by noted civil engineer Jesse Hartley. It provided the necessary power to move the bridges and lock gates at the Birkenhead docks. Under the proposed development plans, the tower might not have stood derelict for much longer. So this is the overall master plan for the East Float dock. Now, if this was all to materialise, it would actually look brilliant. Sadly, in 2024 some of the plans were shelved, including the Regeneration project that would have seen the central hydraulic tower completely refurbished. Sadly, it looks as though the Grade 2 listed building might stay derelict for a long while yet. It remains to be seen what plans from the Wirral Waters project actually come to fruition. But if the wider Wirral Waters scheme plans do come to fruition and 13,000 homes are built, then somebody is going to have to come up with a better plan for getting trucks into and out of the 12 Quays terminal. But there are two stunning Grade 2 listed buildings that you may have noticed in all of this footage, and they are the former impressive flour mills that were once owned by Spillers Milling, and these buildings have been regenerated into apartments and flats. There are some great photographs to be found online of the two mills. In this photo you can clearly see that the two mills are identical in length. However, looking at them today through Google Maps, you'll notice that one is shorter than the other. I am aware that one of the mills suffered bomb damage during the Second World War, and I'm just wondering if that is why in today's photo there is that anomaly between the length of the two buildings. Perhaps somebody watching might know and let me know in the comments. But that's not the only link that these two buildings have to the Second World War. Something sat outside these two mills, something so historical that there is only actually 5 left in the world today, and you won't believe what they've done with it. The amazing story of U-534, the last U-boat to leave Germany, is very well documented here on YouTube. It was the last U-boat to leave Germany before the end of the Second World War. On the 5th of May 1945, the Nazis were all but ready to surrender. This led to the German captains of the U-boat surrendering or scuttling their boats. However, for some reason the captain of U-534 made a break for it. It's still a mystery to this day as to why the commander of U-534 chose that course of action rather than surrender or scuttle the U-boat. On the 5th of May 1945, as the U-boat was sailing through the strait known as the Kattegat being a strait just off the northeast coast of Denmark, U-534 was spotted by a Royal Air Force bomber, which sank her. The U-boat lay on the seabed for almost 41 years. The wreck was discovered in 1986 by a Danish wreck hunter, Arge Jensen. Jensen's shipwreck hunting group contacted Danish media millionaire Carsten Rie, who sponsored the raising of the submarine. Speculation was rife that the U-boat may have fled because it was carrying Nazi gold. Over the next 7 years, the group salvaged the wreck. U-534 was raised to the surface for the first time in almost 50 years. Incredibly, this historical U-boat somehow found its way to Birkenhead. Despite being under the water for almost 50 years, the silt at the bottom of the Kattegat had preserved the U-boat amazingly. U-534 was towed into the East Float and then taken out of the water to become part of the U-boat story. Sadly, this was to be the last resting place of U-534 as a fully intact U-boat for all to see. Sadly, this wasn't the end of the story for the U-boat. Following a voluntary bankruptcy from the people that own it, the boat then became into the ownership of Mersey Travel. Mersey Travel are the people that operate the Mersey tunnels and also the Mersey ferries. One of the documentaries here on YouTube explains what happens.
After initially arriving in Birkenhead as part of an historic wartime exhibit, in order to move U-534 to her new berth, it was necessary to cut her into 5 sections.
However, this, according to this guy, isn't actually the case.
It weighs approximately about 950 tonnes. We had various exercises to what we would do with it in terms of whether we moved it in one piece or whether we moved it in a number of pieces, but also to best display it to the public. And we couldn't actually have allowed the public inside as a complete unit because of the present Disability Discrimination Act. People could not have gone down into the U-boat, so it's felt the best way was to cut it into a number of pieces.
So there you have it. They cut this historic U-boat up into sections. What looks to be its final resting place is on the bottom right hand corner of the screen as you're looking now, just below Stena Line's ferry terminal. The attraction is currently closed at the moment, but is supposed to be opening again very soon. In the meantime, the only way you'll be able to view the submarine is from Google Maps. I've got to be honest, I'm not impressed with the decision to cut up such an historical U-boat. Using the satellite imagery, you can see it looks a sorry state, all cut up next to the River Mersey. I'd even go as far to say it looked better when it was salvaged from the bottom of the sea. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up as it really helps the video get pushed out further. A massive thank you to everybody who subscribes and comments on any video that I put out. It really is appreciated. I'll see you all next time on the Trucker's Eye.